welcome to yet another week of Art of Clean, make your home your castle. I'm Pierre, the wet here with Art of Clean, and I wish to take a moment just telling you the reason why I decided to make these series of question and answer sessions. So, we all realize that many of us spend time at home and cannot really go anywhere. Or if we go somewhere, it's only essential reasons to go. I also am very aware that you might be at home and ready to receive us, but you're not totally yet there to have us around, care for that floors and furnishings, and you desperately need some help. And this is exactly the reason why I decided to start answering some questions and help you look after the flooring and soft furnishings you have until the time is right for us to come and help you. So in this series of videos, I'm trying to add some value, help you help yourself in the interim. The intention of this video is not to try and convince you to rather use a professional. I will go out of my way to find a reason to get you to attempt some things that's safe to solve your crisis. So if it happens that you're watching this video and you do have something around the home that needs some attention, don't hesitate to send those questions in to me, and I'll be more than happy to add as much value as I can. And you know what? If my answer don't totally answer your question, always come back to me. I'm more than happy to help you. Absolutely, I am. It's at this time that we all have to come together. You have seen my videos over the lockdown months. You've seen how we've helped people, sending people out, several of these sanitizers. And this is yet another way where I believe Art of Clean is there for the community, for you to help you solve your cleaning challenges. And I have a lovely story for you. Last week I addressed a question from Jennifer. She has left a candle on, and of course the candle created smoke. In the process, this smoke has somehow marked the carpet and left what she called a snake line on the carpet. Rob has gone out to her and taken care of these marks, and also because I choose a small winner every week that gets a standard chance to win a Pallmann cleaning kit for their floors, and also these lovely shirts that's sponsored by Utsin. Utsin is the company that makes the floor preparation products, so everything that goes under the floor, this company makes. They sponsored us some shirts, so last week Rob went out to see Jennifer, and here's a beautiful photo that he's given me. Rob has been out to clean the carpets for her, and she has won the prize, and there she is with her Clean and Go kit that she can now use to clean her wooden floors with. So I wish to say thank you so much, Jennifer, for allowing us to get a photo with you, and I trust that cleaning kit will come in very handy. A little later on, I will be talking about that cleaning kit because there was a question about that, and see how I can solve this. Now, before we go any further, yet another viewer of my series has contributed greatly, and I would like to take a moment just to say thank you to her. A question came into me the week before last, and this question was to do with some tiles that had to be removed because there was a leak in the bathroom. The question came from Felicity because the new tiles did not necessarily match the old floor in the same sheen level. So the new tiles were more matte than the old floor. She just wanted for now to change those two tiles. And she sent me an email saying, Pierre, what can you do? It was only a few tiles to polish, and I said to her, you know what, Felicity, bring it to us, drop it off here, I'll polish it for you and I'll send it back, or you can come and pick it up. Felicity then sent me this message. She said, thank you so much for your help. I've put the color-on-ons on, and the builder is here today to put them down. So this was after I've polished the tiles for her, and I've also given her a small bottle of color-on-onsing impregnator. She has then also supplied us with this beautiful wine decanter. Look at this beauty. So this is a beautiful wine decanter that you can put your wine in, and you can fit as much as 2, maybe 2.5 bottles in there. And Felicity runs this company called Balkan Pottery. So she imports this beautiful pottery, and she's also given me a dish where I can cook a chicken in, and I've used that last week, and I've shown it also in the show. So she supplied me one of those, and I said to her that I'll make one of this available as the bigger prize that we'll draw at the end of this series. So at the end of this series, we'll stick everybody's name on the board, and this is the board over there, and we'll give that a spin, and we will have several different prizes that we'll give away. This is yet again our way to engage with you, help you, and just make it a bit of fun. You know, we can look at life at the moment and realize how we restrict it and how everything is wrong, or we can decide to see the light side in life. And that's what I wish to do, and I wish to take you on the journey with me. So for those of you that's interested, please head over to Welcome Pottery and have a look at those items. Felicity is doing a marvelous job there. So let's go on and answer this week's questions and see how I can help. The first question came from Mary Rule. Mary asked, what's the best way to remove stains from a sisal carpet? Now, no surprise there. We've had this question in the series before, and it's quite clear many people struggle with the same problem. So let's see how we can help Mary with this question. So what I have, I'm going to switch over to this camera, and what I have here is some samples of sisal. I have also a box from Crucial Trading with all the different types of sisal they do. Now, of course, this one is seagrass. Those ones are sisal, or at least sisal mixes. You can see there's another one. So these are the types of floors that Mary is talking about. These ones here, that one is seagrass. It's a little different, although it can easily be confused for the same thing. So these floors are very tricky to get clean. When a stain happens on them, it is very tricky. And sadly, not everybody are familiar with that sort of challenge, because they don't know that these floors cannot necessarily, these carpets cannot necessarily be cleaned, and stains can't be removed from them. But Mary, you've asked the question, how can you remove the stains? And I really want to help you as much as I can. Let's start by sharing what I shared last time. The first sad reality is you will probably not get that mark out. But like I said earlier on, this video is to help you until such point that you're ready to have us or any other professional to come and take care of it. So what would you do in a case like this, where you have these floors, this type of one like I've shown you last time? What would you do if you have a spill on that? Now, of course, what I would say is it depends what spill you have. If you have a liquid spill, for example, this is just some water and we have a spill that goes on there. Now, that liquid is quite liquidy, if I can call it that. It has now immediately mostly soaked into the carpet and the mark sits inside. Now, you will struggle to get that out, although if you have, like this one, a little bit of bead up on the surface, what you can do is use your cotton towel and dab that to get as much as you can of that absorbed into the towel. So by absorbing what you can into the towel, you now have a little bit less to deal with, but unfortunately, because this fiber is very absorbent, it will probably very quickly soak inside the carpet. Now, that's the first thing. What you want to consider next is what else is available for you to remove, because sometimes it might be like a yogurt or something thick that sits at the surface, and you can scrape that away. So by scraping that away, you don't allow for it to dry, you remove as much as you can, but do take care, because these fibers can sometimes soften if they get wet, and then as you agitate them more, they start to burst open, and soon you will see where that mark is, where you attempted to remove that. So it's very important you're very gentle with it. Now, I have got a little tip for you. If you have something that is spilled on there, let's say a yogurt, now you would see that this is quite a coarse carpet, and this coarse carpet will mean that it will stick to it quite a lot. At this time, as we said, you're at home, you think, goodness me, what am I going to do? And you really want some help. So I'm going to give this to you, but please understand, like with all my videos, I advise you have to test it first. Please don't call me up and say, Pierre, I've tried all these things and some more, now it doesn't work, and now, you know what, it's your problem. No, I'm trying to help you as much as I can, so it's your responsibility to be as safe as you can, test them in inconspicuous areas. So, screw fix. Do a wet vacuum, a wet and dry vacuum, and this wet and dry vacuum is £44.99. So what you can do with this little item is you'll see that it has the bigger wand end there that can pick up dry soil. But what I would advise for a smaller stain is detach the vacuum hose just there, and basically you'll have just the vacuum hose in your hand, and you can then use that to gently vacuum up that spill that has gone onto the carpet. And just by using that very gently, as I said, if you're going to be too aggressive to the fibers, you are going to burst them open. So you need to really be very gentle. Just suck up that spill that's there as soon as you can. And then what you can do, Mary, is introduce a little bit more moisture. Now what you can do is use some of our stain remover, and I've got the wrong one there, this is the one I'm looking for, some of our stain remover, and you can introduce some of that into the carpet. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to go to the close-up, and then what we'll do is we will introduce a little bit of this and I'll introduce a little bit like that, and then I'll use the wet vacuum and I'll very gently push it against there. Do not rub it onto the carpet, just push it against there and remove that. If it happens that you do not have any like this, our spot and stain remover, you can just simply use a little bit of water, introduce it in there, and then vacuum that up. Now, remember, you also have different types of stains. You have stains that can only be dissolved with a solvent, and you've got stains that can be dissolved with water, and then you also have dry soil, which you'd rather best to just vacuum up. So, if it's mud that comes in from under a shoe, I'd leave that to dry and then vacuum that up off it once it's dry. Do not go and attempt this with mud, because you'll just make a big old mark. Leave that lump of mud to dry, scrape off what you can gently, and then use your vacuum and just vacuum it up. That's done. If you have a solvent issue, and many times I'll refer to maybe some makeup, they are usually easier to remove with a solvent. Otherwise, maybe some candle wax. The first thing people would jump to is to go and get the iron and some brown papers out. What can easily happen, and I've seen it before, first thing is you'll melt the carpet, or can melt the carpet. Second is you'll melt it and it runs further deeper into the carpet. So what you need to do there is rather give us a call, but you might use some solvent to soften that up and then remove it, but scrape up what you can first. Otherwise, say it's some coffee or something like that, you can then dilute that down and remove that. If it is a coffee, you might go to look at my previous video where you'd use some vinegar in water. So what you want to do there is use some white vinegar and mix it 50-50 with water, introduce that into the area affected, as I've shown here. So you want to introduce it to that area like that, and then use that vacuum to suck that up. Repeat that until you get it as good as you can, and then what you can do is you can use a cotton towel like this, lay it over the carpet, lay it over that area, weigh it down, leave it overnight, and then the next day you can lift that up and you should see that that has now transferred into the towel, and you would have the best chance of dealing with that stain. Now, reality is, Mary, you're probably going to find that there might be a ring mark where that has been, and that's famous for happening on these types of carpets. So I start all this by saying to you, you're probably not going to get that stain out. There's a great chance you might make it worse, but at the moment you need to do what you can do to make it better, because you can't just leave it like that. So if you're unsure, please give us a call. I'm happy to advise and help as much as I can. Send me a photo of the stain and I can advise accordingly. It's important to understand what the stain is and how that needs to be removed. Okay, so that's Mary's question. Mary, thank you so much. In a moment, we'll head over to that little wheel there and we'll give it a spin, and you never know, Mary, you might just be our lucky winner today. Now, the next one came from Cynthia. Cynthia says, I have a pale round blob mark on a red quarry tile laid in my kitchen in the 1970s. How do I bring the color back? I don't know what has been spilt on it. So let's go over there and have a look at that photo. And we can clearly see here where these marks have been. It seems to be maybe close to the wall. We can't clearly see. It might be a cupboard that something has spilled out, and you can see the lighter marks here. And this is a bigger picture of the tile, and you can clearly see it is quite a rustic look. It's quite a nice floor. It's got lots of character. You can see the grout lines are very old, and those are the marks on the tiles. So, Cynthia, what I have here is an example of something similar. So mine is machine made, and yours might be handmade, but of course it's machine pressed, but then you know, quite handled by hand quite a bit, and that's why they're not absolutely like this one totally square. You can see also the back here is very much machined. These are very modern tiles. The other one is this one came from Mandarin Stone as a little sample. This is rather a terracotta tile sample, but it's very similar. It's clay tile that's been fired in a kiln. Now the difference between your terracotta and your quarry tile is the quarry tile is much more dense. It's pressed in a machine at very high density, where your terracotta is also similar clay, but it's not been pressed so much, other than, you know, sometimes a machine-made terracotta can be quite dense. The terracotta tends to also be a much thicker tile, a bigger tile. Your quarry tile tends to be this size. So what I did earlier before this, I tried to recreate that type of problem on the tile by using acetone just to strip away what's on there, but unfortunately my tiles are all brand new. So Cynthia, I could not replicate that problem. We don't know what marks you have. This is your quarry tile, right? And what we have is a lighter mark. Now on this I can just about see maybe a bit of a lighter mark in the middle, but actually I wasn't successful enough to achieve that. So you have a tile that we've seen over the years that can build up some cleaning solution because you mop the floor, that little bit of a film at the top that dries on the top of the tile, and then next week you wash it again and there's yet another film and yet another film, and over time it builds up a layer over the top. Unintentionally, you add that every time you clean the floor. And in between those layers is a little bit of dirt, and it builds up and it looks dirtier and dirtier over time. And 4 years later, that floor looks totally different to what it looked like the day it was laid. So you then spill something on the floor by accident, and the product you spill strip away all those layers of build-up over time. And of course, very first time round, if you're lucky, that floor was sealed. Now that sealer started breaking down, and now that whatever you spilled on the floor is broken right through all those layers, taken off the sealer, and now you've got a mark there. And we need to understand the type of sealer, and I want to go there maybe first. So what you have is a sealer that can bring the color out of the tile, especially with terracotta. Some people do like that earthy look, that deep orange color, and for that reason they'll use a color enhancer. So I have a few things here. You can use a color enhancer, and this is a product that is really good. I use the Tile Master range here at Art of Clean, and this is the color enhancing impregnator. That means that if we apply it to the tile, it would bring the color out. Now, you're not going to see such a big difference here because that's already been applied to these tiles. I'm just talking about what can be done. So you can have a color enhancing impregnator. The alternative is using a natural sealer or impregnator, but not enhancing the color. That leaves it more natural, right? So the alternative is that you can go and get a lithophane classic primer. So this is also a product that can be used successfully on especially terracotta tiles. We used to use this several years ago, so you can use that also to enhance the color. And you can also revert back to the old traditional way, which is also something we've done before, which is your boiled linseed oil. So boiled linseed oil, you thin that down with some white spirit or turpentine substitute, and you can then apply it. I stress it's important to dilute it with turpentine substitute or white spirit, otherwise it can become thick and sticky. Now, your problem there, Cynthia, is that your tiles, if I head over that side again, your tiles there have got a sealer on it, it's got layers over it, what has built up over time. Now, you might choose to apply something that enhances the color. The problem you're going to have is that the surrounding areas that's not been stripped has now got some things on it that's built up over time. And if you apply any of these that's all solvent based, that starts to soften that area around. Let me show you what I mean by that. So I'll move my mouse over there, you would see it. All this darker area here has now still got the old finish on it. And this area that's lighter has now basically had that stripped away. So if you apply an enhancer that would enhance the color of that light patch, you will end up with probably applying it over the whole tile. And by doing so, this darker area, you will find that the solvent you use now is starting to soften, or it can soften that old finish that's on there. And that means that you can end up with a sticky tile. So you want to be careful at what you do, and normally I would advise clean that floor thoroughly first. Now, this purpose of my video series is to help you. It's not to tell you, listen, you have to use us. I really want to add value. So what I can say is you can test by using something like boiled linseed oil, thin that down 50-50 with some white spirit, and use a cotton towel like this, small little bit, and apply it to those areas and just darken it up. Careful not to go over that area into the darker areas, and just leave it and see if it improves. You might even test it on the darker areas out of the way and see if it might become sticky. If not, you're lucky and you would have covered that, but you're probably going to find you're best off cleaning the whole area back and then applying it, and that's the reason why we will be cleaning the whole area rather than just the tile. But you can test that. Cynthia, go ahead, try a little bit of linseed oil, thin it down with white spirit, apply it literally just to those affected areas, and you might use an earbud and just dip it in and apply gently to those areas. Wipe it clean, wipe it dry. Do not leave something sitting on the surface. You have to wipe it totally dry, and you might do a few applications just to darken that area up until such point that you hide it. And maybe in the future, when you're ready, we can come around and do it properly for you. So that's what I would advise there, and I trust that helps you. Rebecca asked, is it possible to restore the color of this rug? Let's head over there and we'll look at a rug. So here is the rug that she asked about, and Rebecca asked, can this color be restored? Now, interestingly enough, look at the back of this rug. This is a picture of the back of the rug, and you can see there's way more color on the back of the rug than there is on the front of this rug. So you can see this has clearly faded over time, or at least it appears that it's faded over time. So I'll leave that photo up so you can see, look at those beautiful colors on the back and look at the lighter colors at the front. Now, it's possible that that might be a wool rug. It might also be a silk rug. So Rebecca, here's something to consider. Sometimes these rugs are made to look like that. So that's just something to consider. It's not to say that this rug is definitely been made that way. It's possible that it might have faded over time. It's also possible it might have been made that way. So just consider that. So what to do if you want to do something like that, recolor the whole rug. First is, my advice would be, Rebecca, consider the value of this rug. That is a lovely rug, but you need to consider the value. And somebody can value that rug who works with rugs every day and tell you some more. So we have a rug we're giving away. This rug is from Persian Tribal Rugs in Cambridge. And I've known Farad there for many years. His sons are now working in the shop. Of course, that's if it's open. And sometimes you're lucky and you find Farad there. Farad is a lovely Iranian gentleman, and he knows so much about rugs. So if you're in Cambridge, I would definitely say, go take your rug, go and see Farad and get an idea of the value of that rug. And this is one thing I learned about Farad. He's quite straight talking, so he would not tell you it's worth a lot if it's not. And I would say take his advice on board. I'd say he's got years on experience on rugs because he's born in rugs in that world, and they're just absolutely amazing people. So go and see Farad if you're in Cambridge, and he can then give you an idea of the value of the rug. Once you identify the value of the rug, you can then decide, is it really worth spending money on this rug? And how much is it worth? So here's my take on it. Let's say the rug is worth £2,000. And you know what? You just want to have the rug in your home, and it's a rug that's £2,000. You've got no real sentimental value to the rug, and you might say, well, you know what? I'll put this rug down. If it's fine, I might restore the color. Of course, that's one option. And I'll come to the others in a minute. You have £2,000 of value in the rug, but now I need to restore that rug. I would say, personally, and this is only advice, I would not spend more than half the value on the rug again, because that rug is slightly older, and if you buy a brand new rug from Farad or anywhere else, you may spend £2,000 on buying something like that. So consider it. That's what I would advise. If your rug is worth £2,000, I would say spend no more than £1,000 on it. Now, there's a difference though. You might have inherited that rug, and it comes with a beautiful story of the family. Grandmother's passed it on, and there's a story about how it traveled all the way around the world. And then that means that £1,000 is far from the true value of the rug. Even the £2,000, the true value of the rug is not necessarily applicable anymore, and that's when you need to look at the price in your heart rather than in your head. But that's what I would advise. Consider that, speak to Farah, get the value of the rug, and then decide how much is it worth. Now, here's the question. Rebecca asked, what can be done? So, Rebecca, I have this gentleman. His name is Kevin. He runs this carpetdyingservices.co.uk, and on his page you will see he does a lot of color repairs. So specifically, sorry, I didn't realize I'm not showing you the screen. Let me show you the screen. It's Carpet Dyeing Services and .co.uk, and he runs a business that repairs bleach marks. So you can see this bleach mark here, for example. He's repaired that, and he can also advise on other repairs as full color recoloring of carpets, and also advise you on recoloring and fixing color on rugs. And if he can't help with a sizable job like that rug, he might not be able to. He'd certainly know who to advise. And I would say that my vote goes for Kevin. If Kevin cannot do it, he'll definitely tell you, and I'll put you in touch with somebody that can. And I've referred Kevin several times before. I've known him many years, and I certainly say that's the place to go. And also, Kevin is good if you might have a bleach stain on your carpet and you want that fixed without changing the carpet. He's certainly the man to go to. So, Rebecca, I trust that helps you. The next one we're going to is Sue. Sue says, I purchased a Clean Go kit from your website and I've received it, but I now don't know what is the different mop heads in there. And I'm a little bit confused as to the instructions on what to do. So here we go. What I have here is our Clean and Go kit. And I wish to help Sue now. Sue, first thing is we have this white mop head. We have our cleaner. We have our mop head itself. We have a little guide as to how to do that. And then in the side of this box, for those of you that haven't had it yet, the side of the box folds open. And inside the side of the box, you will find the handle of the mop. So, your handle, which is locking into each other, I would not do that now. Your cleaning guide, you will find all in there. You have your mop head with a microfiber mop. You have your cleaner, which is a spray cleaner. This is a general, everyday, keep on top of the muddy footprints cleaner. And then you have this fluffy mop head. Now, what do you do? Sue is asking, what would I do? I do not know what's going on here. Okay, Sue, here's what I would advise. This white mop head is a dry soil removal tool. So that means basically like your broom or like your vacuum cleaner, it's nice and soft. It's got long, fiddly, fluffy bits that can grab the dry soil, and you can mop the floor dry using this. It will have a bit of static electricity and grab any dry soil. Now, of course, if there's a lot of dry soil, I would advise rather use a broom or something like that to sweep the floor, but this would just get light soil and dust off the floor. Once you've done it with this, you will, of course, look at this, how easy that is. So this is your microfiber. You remove that, you put your little fluffy mop on there. Of course, your handle is attached to that, and you can go ahead and use this as a dry mop off your floor, just dry soil removal. Once that's done, you peel this away, and if it's very dirty, you can shake it out and put it in the washing machine. You can then go and change this over to the orange microfiber mop, and you will then use your spray cleaner, which is this one over here, and you spray and mop, you clean your floor that way. So that is how I would advise you use it. It has been very successful for many years. We've been supplying this product, and I would advise that that is an easy way to do every day, keep on top of it. Now, of course, every few weeks when the floor needs a deep clean, that's the point when you're going to pull out your mop and bucket and you're going to make your cleaning solution, and you'll be using the Pallmann Neutral Clean. That product will then be used to clean the floor deeply, and this product will be used to just keep on top of it. Now, if this runs out, do not throw the bottle away, because this bottle is brilliant. I love these sprayers. They are really easy to adjust. They're very good quality, and you can just mix a new cleaning solution in there by using the Pallmann cleaning neutral cleaner. Dilute it 100 to 1, fill up your bottle, and you're good to go again. And best of all, you save the environment, because you don't throw the bottle away. So please go ahead, save the environment, use the bottle again, and that way you keep on top of it. Lisa, I have received your rug, and here it is. Beautiful sheepskin. She asked, we have a sheepskin rug that needs cleaning. Is this something you do, and how would you take care of it? I said to Nicola to arrange for Brandon to pick this up from you, Lisa, so that I can make a quick video, answer your question about how the cleaning of this rug should be, and also explain a little bit about sheepskin rugs and the limitations to them. There are two main types of sheepskin rug. There are the ones like you have, lovely good quality. This one comes from John Lewis. It is more than one skin really, so you can see there, at the back, I switch it over. You see we've got a stitch line there. This rug has been stitched together. It is very likely more than one skin that make up this bigger skin, even though it's been cut to look like a single skin. It is actually probably more than one sheep's skin here. And this is a beautiful skin. So these items have been sold. You probably would have paid about, I roughly guess, maybe £100 for this. Maybe you paid 150 for this. But here's the reality. You can pick these things up for as little as 30, sometimes even £20, and they look absolutely amazing. Beautiful and fluffy and gorgeous and white, and they just feel so soft, and you fall in love with them the first time you see them, and they're so beautiful. And then you buy them and you take them home, and within 3 weeks they are not that same rug anymore. They are clumpy and now dirty, and they are not so good. Now, reality is most of those are just actually a byproduct, and the £30 you spend on that rug is usually the cost they've had to make that rug, because the skin itself is a byproduct. And you will find that you can easily go and buy a new one for £30. Sadly, it goes so much against what I said earlier about saving the planet by using a bottle again, because most people would be better off throwing the rug away after a year and buy a new one for 30 than spend probably a good £60 cleaning that rug or getting it cleaned. But then there's the other rug, and this is similar to what I see here, but there are limitations. So please understand, Lisa, I want to help you as much as I can. So if you have a sheepskin rug, here's what the first thing is you need to look at before you take it around for cleaning. The first thing you want to do is take the rug. Let's get your closer up there and show you. So you take your rug, and what you want to do is grab hold of the hair. You want to grab hold of it, and you want to hold the leather at the back, and you want to give this a little bit of a pull, and you want to listen carefully. So you want to give it a bit of a pull, and not too hard. You just want to listen out for a bit of tearing, because if you pull this, the thing is the skin dries out, and if you pull, sometimes you literally can just end up pulling a lump of this out of the rug, and that indicates that this skin has gone so dry it easily lose that fiber. So you want to give this a pull, and this one seemed all right. You want to give it a bit of a pull. I listen out for a bit of crunching, but that doesn't happen here. The other thing you can do is take the rug and just squash it up together. So you want to give it a squeeze like that. And if you give it a squeeze and it's cracking and breaking, and then you know it's not good. But you can see the back of this rug, the leather there, is quite supple, it's quite soft, so it's really still malleable. It means that we've got the moisture still in the skin and it's still hanging onto the wool. So what you can do with this rug is we can gently clean this. The only downside is, do you see how lumpy this might be in places? So this wool has started sticking together, and you would not in what we do to clean this, you would not get it back to that nice, beautiful, fluffy rug that you had many years ago when you bought this. Now, what you can do is, unfortunately, I've discovered they don't do it anymore. Eastern Counties Leather and Sawston do have or had a machine that brushed these rugs. So you can go to them and ask them if they can help, but they don't do multi-skin. This is a multi-skin rug, as I mentioned earlier, because we've got the stitches, they've been stitched together. So the rug is a bit too big for that. But in reality, this rug needs to go into that machine to brush it and give it a very nice fluffy look again. They used to do that for us many years ago, but unfortunately not anymore. So Lisa, what I would advise we do for you here is just keep this rug clean and make it look a little bit better and get a few more years out of it. We won't be able to get it absolutely a brand new rug again. It might be that we can brush it and give it a bit more fluffiness, but it's never going to be exactly the same as a new rug, and we'll take great care. But my advice is, if you have a rug like this, have a look at how dry that skin is. That back of the rug, how dry is the leather? You want to give it this big old squeeze and listen out for that cracking, and you want to pull this skin a little bit gently. Don't rip it out, but just gently, and soon you'll see it just comes off, and that's the point when, you know what, sadly it's just a replacement. So the other thing to do is you can also go and take it to your local dry cleaner. There are some dry cleaners that works with specialist cleaners that cleans this leather in a machine. A special solvent is used that's very gentle on these types of rugs, and they tend to come up quite nice. So that's probably something I would also consider. And if you're in Newmarket or in Bury St Edmunds, Farthings there are lovely people. They can certainly help. So in Bury St Edmunds, go and see Mickey. And in Newmarket, you can go and see James and Brian. They're really lovely people, and they can give you some advice. Alternatively, if you're in Cambridge or in the area, you can go and see Lawrence at Farthings in Trumpington or Farthings in Cambridge. Just watch out, because of the lockdown, there's certain days they're open and certain days not, and they can help you with your leather skins as well. But do be advised that sometimes your leather skin would have costed you £30, and the cleaning of that skin can be anything from 60 up to £150. And you, again, like that rug I talked about earlier, you need to understand the value of what's in your rug and whether it's worth it or not. I do not want you to make a journey all the way to the dry cleaners and they tell you, well, the cleaning is going to be £85 for the rug, and then you go, well, the rug was only £30, so you can go and buy a new one. That's probably the better thing to do anyway. As I said earlier, many skins at the £30 mark is only a byproduct of what it is that they did with the sheep, unfortunately, before it got slaughtered, and then the skin is left and they process it to just basically get their £20 back and their £10 for the extra hassle to make this happen and make their little £5 on the skin. So that's what I would advise, but please understand that there are also, just like this one, beautiful skins out there that has had a lot of work done to them, and the value of these skins are, of course, much more. So it's not that all sheepskins are like that, but unfortunately many are about a byproduct of it, and that's the reason why there's not great value in it. So thank you for that, Lisa. Thank you for sending your skin over. I will make sure we take care of that for you. And here's the fun part. The fun part has started. Look here, people. We have our lights and we have our spinny wheel, our wheel of fortune over there. And what we also do is we give away at the end of the series 3 prizes. So we're giving away a whole house of cleaning, any service we provide, your choice, up to £1,000. You can have your floors sanded, you can get your patios cleaned, you can get your curtains done, you can get your carpets cleaned, we can come and do your stone floor for you, you can get your upholstery done, you can send your rugs over to us, all to the value of £1,000. That's our first prize. Our second prize is just behind me. You'll see here our Sebo Felix vacuum cleaner. Sebo has supported me here, given a prize. I made a small contribution, and I'm very grateful for Sebo for supplying this. They also support the Pink Ribbon Foundation that helps women with breast cancer. So this is also a charitable involvement from Sebo. So go and have a look at the Pink Ribbon Foundation. And then other than this vacuum cleaner, we also have this beautiful rug from Persian Tribal Rugs, worth in the region of about £300. And then we also have this beautiful wine decanter from Balkan pottery, and those will be drawn at the end of the series. But in the interim, what we give away is this Pallmann cleaning kit that you can care for your floors for, and we're giving away some of these beautiful shirts sponsored by Utsin, and they also support the charity. They supported the NHS, and they've given us some of these shirts to give away and just say thank you for taking part. So those are the things we do, but let's head over to the Wheel of Fortune, and I'm going to drag my mic over there, and then we're going to see what we can do. So I'm switching over to that, and we have our questions submitters today. There's Cynthia, we've got Mary there, Rebecca, Lisa, and over here we've got Sue. So let's see who's our winner today. Here we go. Here we go. And it is. Oh, Mary Rule. Brilliant, brilliant. Mary, well done. Thank you so much for submitting your question. And that was Mary Rule. Our first question of the day. What's the best way to remove stains from a sisal carpet? Thank you so much, Mary. Listen, everybody watching, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you around and answering your questions. Please feel free, for those of you that have not yet submitted your question, fire it over to me. It's all about making life a bit of fun, getting out there and making your home your castle. Thank you so much, and catch you soon.